The wall. Liam and Sophie had been searching for months. Every place they could afford was either a shoebox or a dump. Until they found this one. A spacious one-bedroom apartment, absurdly cheap, right in the city center. The landlord, a quiet old man with sunken eyes, barely spoke as they signed the lease. "You're getting a good deal," he muttered as he handed them the keys. "Just, try to be good to each other." At the time, the comment had seemed odd, but Liam was too excited to care. A place like this? For this price? They'd be stupid to pass it up. The apartment was beautiful, though old. High ceilings, wide windows, hardwood floors. And then, there was the wall. The living room's farthest wall was strange, painted over again and again, layers upon layers visible beneath the surface, as if someone had been desperately trying to cover something. "Looks like someone had a graffiti phase," Liam joked, running his hand over the uneven surface. Sophie frowned. There was something off about it. But she said nothing. They moved in that night. The first few days were peaceful. They unpacked, settled in, and started making the place feel like home. Then, one morning, Sophie saw it. A message, faint but clearly written on the wall, as if the paint had shifted overnight to reveal the words beneath. "Good morning." She blinked. Had that been there before? "Liam, did you see this?" Liam, still half asleep, rubbed his eyes and walked over. "See what?" Sophie pointed. The words were there, clear as day. "Ha. Weird." Liam ran a hand over the wall. Probably something left over from an old paint job. Sophie exhaled. That made sense. But that night, another message appeared. "Sleep well." Sophie felt a chill crawl up her spine. Over the next few days, the wall kept writing. At first, it was friendly, helpful. "You left your keys on the counter. It's going to rain today, take an umbrella. That pasta needs more salt." Liam found it hilarious. "We've got a ghost who's really into customer service." Sophie, however, felt uneasy. The messages weren't written in ink, chalk, or marker. They simply appeared as though the wall was shifting, whispering. One night, after Sophie had come home late from work, another message was waiting. "You should ask him where he really was." Her stomach tightened. She read it 3 times. Liam walked out of the bedroom, yawning. "Hey babe, everything okay?" Sophie hesitated. She wanted to ask. But she didn't. The wall started talking more personally. He lied. She was on the phone with someone else. He's hiding something. Liam laughed it off. "You're seriously letting some creepy wall get in your head?" But Sophie wasn't laughing. She started noticing things. How Liam locked his phone when she walked by. How he stayed out later than usual. How he seemed nervous when she asked about his day. And Liam, too, began to change. One morning, he found a message waiting just for him. "She went through your phone while you were sleeping." His pulse quickened. He turned to Sophie, still in bed, her phone beside her. Had she? Over the next week, they stopped sleeping well. The wall whispered to them both. "He watches you while you sleep. She doesn't love you anymore. He thinks about someone else. She's planning something." Sophie caught Liam staring at her in the middle of the night. Liam found Sophie hiding a kitchen knife under her pillow. They started eating in silence, sitting across from each other like strangers, eyes flicking toward the wall. They didn't trust each other. But they trusted the wall. The night it happened, the air felt thick, heavy. Neither of them spoke, but both lay awake, pretending to sleep. At 3 a.m., a new message appeared. "Only one of you gets to leave." Sophie's fingers clenched around the handle of the knife beneath her pillow. Liam's breath slowed, his hands sliding under the mattress where he had hidden his own weapon. They both lay still, waiting. Liam and Sophie barely spoke anymore. The apartment had become a war zone, where every glance was a silent accusation. They moved cautiously, each watching the other from the corner of their eye. The wall had divided them completely. The messages were constant now, appearing and disappearing faster than before, seeping into their minds like venom. She's lying. He's watching you sleep again. She was on the phone for a long time. Ask him what he searched online last night. Sophie's heartbeat was a constant drum of anxiety. Liam's fists clenched at nothing, teeth grinding in his sleep. They both had weapons now. Hidden. Ready. Neither wanted to be the first to act. But the wall wanted blood. Liam's knife slashed through the air, missing Sophie by inches. She screamed, diving backward, her bare feet slipping on the hardwood floor. She needed her knife. It had landed near the kitchen, just out of reach. Liam turned, eyes wild, chest heaving, his arm dripping blood from her earlier attack. The wall wasn't done playing. New words etched themselves across the surface, deep and jagged like fresh wounds. Hurry, Sophie. Her breath caught in her throat. She lunged, Liam tackled her mid-motion, slamming her to the floor. Her skull cracked against the wood. A sharp, ringing pain exploded through her head. But she didn't let go. Her fingers wrapped around the knife's handle. She rolled onto her back, just as Liam lunged again, and she plunged the blade into his stomach. Liam's body went rigid. His mouth opened, but no sound came out. For a moment, he simply stared at her. Then, slowly, his knees buckled. He fell on top of her, heavy and shaking. Hot blood pooled between them. Sophie's breath came in short, ragged gasps. Her hands trembled violently as she shoved his lifeless body off her. Liam wasn't moving. His eyes were open, but they saw nothing. Sophie staggered up, chest rising and falling in frantic, uneven breaths. The apartment was silent. Only the distant hum of the refrigerator filled the space. Then, a new message spread across the wall, slowly, like fresh ink seeping through cloth. Good girl. Sophie let out a choked sob. Her hands, her arms, were covered in his blood. What had she done? She turned to the door. She had to leave. She took a step, the wall shook. Sophie froze. The entire apartment seemed to inhale. A long, wet creak echoed through the room. She turned back. And saw the new words forming on the wall. Don't go. Her stomach twisted. The door was only a few steps away. If she ran, but then, a hand burst through the wall. Liam's hand. His rotting, bloodied, twisted fingers clawed at the air, reaching for her. Sophie screamed, staggering backward. Another hand pushed through the plaster beside it. Then another. Then another. Dozens of hands, bursting through the wall, grasping, writhing. Trapped souls, screaming without sound. The last message appeared, its letters enormous, stretching across the entire surface. Stay with me. Sophie never left. The police never found Liam's body. The apartment was listed for rent again the following month. A young man signed the lease, thrilled at the low price and spacious living room. The first morning, he saw it. A message, faint but clear, waiting on the wall. Good morning, Daniel.